Hey everyone, I'm Adam Kelly. In this video, we're going to continue this informal series on Blender for AI developers. And in this one, we're going to talk about just how you can manipulate objects in your scene. So we left off from the last video with this object kind of sitting right here. And the way I moved it there was by just clicking and dragging in here, and it sort of locks onto the x-axis and it picks a new spot based on wherever you leave your mouse. If you want to hard code this, you can. So you can just type in 0, and then it will lock right to that spot. Now this is in meters, so that's something that's important to be aware of. When you're working with this, anything in Blender has a scale associated with it, and you don't really want to get your scale wrong. Let's say we were working on a very small object, like a coin. You might be tempted to make your coin about the size of this object right here. Like maybe pretend that this is coin shaped. Ignore the fact that I just switched into a different mode. I'll talk about that in a bit. And we scale this down so that it's like about the thickness of the coin that we want to work on. Okay. I want you to take a look at what I just did by changing the scale. This shows the dimensions right here. Dimensions is different from scale. Dimensions is how big it actually is. So along the x-axis, this is 2 meters, and y is 2 meters, and z is about 8 centimeters. So what I've done is created a gigantic coin, and this coin probably isn't the right size for whatever application we're going to use it for. So you do need to be aware of that as you're working with things, and it can be helpful to make sure that you just choose the right size of things. So that's why I wanted to point that out. I'm not going to teach you all the ways that you can do that, but I did want to point that out. So if we've got this shape and we want it in a specific spot, I've showed that you can type in 0, but of course you can type in other numbers. By default, if you type in just a number, it's going to move that number to that spot, I should say, not move that number necessarily, in meters. But let's say we're working in centimeters. We can actually type in 10 cm and it'll go up, it'll convert that to meters for us. Even cooler than that, for those of us based in the United States and are still using a horrible unit of measurement called the imperial system, I believe, if we need to do feet, we can even do 12 feet, and it'll convert that to meters for us. 6 feet. So that's helpful. I can even do 10 inches and it'll convert it to inches. So that's cool. That's helpful. You know, you get it close enough usually and you're good, but if you want to be super precise, you can. Another thing that's really helpful to know is, let's say we wanted to move this up by some amount. You can even do math in here. So I'm going to say, in this case, maybe 3 times 6 and hit enter. And now it's going to go to 18 meters. And what's even cooler than that is I can do 12 inches times 3, and this will be 3 feet. So that's converted to meters, of course. So that's really helpful and really useful. All of these boxes allow us to do that sort of math in them. And then, of course, if we want to set them back, I can just 0, tab 0, tab 0, enter, and that sets it back. So let's say you don't want to work with this in here. You want to be able to sort of move things around in the scene. This time I'll go with rotation, so I could, rotate it this way. I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. There are also these controls over here. So whatever you have selected, if you want to rotate it, you can click on this rotate option. And you can always hover over these for a tip as to what they are. And this now gives you control to rotate it along these axes, which is pretty cool. You also should be aware that when you rotate things or move things, well, probably not rotate, or not move, but rotate and scale for sure, you have a pivot. And a pivot is basically what it's rotating around. So for this, and just change this back to 0 and 0, if I'm rotating this, I'm rotating around the x-axis but it's actually rotating around this dot, this spot in the center. And that's generally what we want, but let's undo that really quick. And I'm going to move this along the x-axis. And what if we wanted to rotate this sort of around this y-axis instead? Well, if I rotate, it's obviously going to rotate over here. Well, maybe that's not what I wanted. Maybe I want it to rotate sort of like a big wheel around this. Well, you can choose your pivot up here. This is the transform pivot point. And I typically only use a couple of these. I don't ever use this bounding box center, but one that I use very frequently is the 3D cursor. So if you turn that on, what it does is it now makes it so that you're going to rotate around the 3D cursor. So that can be really helpful for getting the types of behaviors that you're looking for. And it also can be helpful for times when you don't want to rotate around the origin. Let's say I want to move this cursor to be somewhere maybe on the shape. If I hold the shift key and click there, if I hold the shift key and right click there, it'll actually sort of lock the cursor onto that spot. And I've gotten myself into an interesting situation where zooming isn't really doing anything. So I have to click this, and then I have to focus on that object. So I'm going to hit the period key. And now now I'm able to move a little bit better. But now if I rotate this, it's going to rotate around that cursor. So that can be very helpful. And there are lots of different ways that you can move this cursor to different points. For example, if I wanted to move it to the center of this object, I can do Shift S, and then I can move my cursor to selected, and now I'm moving around this spot. Now, might not make a bunch of sense to rotate an object around the center that way, but let's say I had a sphere over here that I wanted to rotate around the center of this object. That's how I would do it. And you can always switch back to any one of these. So individual origins and active element will act basically the same if you only have one object selected. But let's say I create a new object. I'm just going to make another one. Whoops, I'm going to go into Add, Mesh, Cube, like this. And then I'm going to move this back here. I'm going to Shift select both of these and do individual origins and then rotate like that. And you'll see that I actually accidentally used a shortcut key. R is what allows you to do rotation. But now we're rotating around their individual origins versus around the 3D cursor, which is here, versus the active element, which is this one. And then there's also median point, which is halfway between the two, and I can rotate like that. So there's lots of different ways you can rotate. I'm sure this is a little bit overwhelming, but I mainly wanted to just point out that there's these different ways to do it, and you'll find generally, that you can pick one of them and only change it when it seems to not be working for you. So the last thing I'll just touch on really quick in terms of moving things around and scaling and rotating is that you can also use a couple of shortcut keys. So I'm going to click back into this mode right here. And if I do the G key, that's going to move. If I do the R, it's going to rotate. And if I do S, it's going to scale. So G, I think of it as grab. I don't know if that's what they intended, but G for move, R for rotate, and S for scale. Now, what you might have noticed is that we were rotating perpendicular to the camera, or to the viewport, I should say. So if I move this object, it's moving perpendicular to the camera. What do I mean by that? Well, let me see if I can find a good way to illustrate this. I'm going to delete both of these. I'm going to shift select both of them, hit the X key, and then I'll click delete to make them go away. I'm also going to reset the position of this with Shift C. That's going to place it back there because anytime I create a new object, it's going to create it wherever the cursor is. I'm going to do Add, Mesh, Cube. All right, so I want to move this. Let's say I would like to move it, but keep it flat on this plane. Like I don't really want it to move up and down. Well, if I just hit the G key and move it, I'm going to move it over here. And then if we view it from another angle, we'll realize that it actually floated up into the sky. So that's probably not what we intended. We probably wanted it to move along this axis. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. And then I'm going to do G, and I'll show you that you can actually restrict movement along different axes. So you can do X, and then it'll lock to the X axis. Or you can do Y, and it'll lock to the Y axis. Or Z, and it'll lock to the Z axis. And then let's say you want it to move on both axes except Z. You do Shift Z. And now it's going to move along this flat plane, or Shift Y, and it's going to move along the XZ plane. So that's generally how you can quickly move things around without sort of getting yourself all confused. Same thing goes for like rotating. So R, if I rotate like this, it's going to rotate perpendicular to the camera. But I probably want to rotate like around the Z axis. Well, now I can rotate just around that up and down Z axis. Same thing goes for scale. I can scale. If I just move it like this, it's actually going to scale it in all directions at once. And you can see how the scale is changing over here. I can also restrict it to just one axis and scale the X like this. Okay. So the last thing I will point out, I'm going to right click to cancel that movement. And then I'm going to point out that this global, these are the transform orientations. I'll just point out one of these. I'm not going to mess with any of the others, but local, if you do a scale in the X axis, it's going to scale along that local X axis. So local is different from the world. It's relative to the orientation of the object itself. We're going to get more into objects and their local information and stuff in the future, but I'm going to wrap it up for this video. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know if there's anything that I forgot to cover and that you'd like covered in the future.